All right, it's time for another Joshcast. I was procrastinating on this Joshcast because I keep thinking I need to do. Excuse me, I just took a swig of green tea, and I used the word swig again, which I vowed I would never use in a previous podcast, but I used it again. But anyway, I was debating what to do with this because I keep thinking, well, all I'm doing right now is basically doing stand-up to nobody with half-formed ideas. And I've been doing this podcast now for a number of years. And while I have one faithful listener in Spain, according to the algorithm, and a couple of other people who might like it, it really hasn't grown much. And so I'm saying to myself, well, maybe I should get guests. Maybe I should do what everyone's telling me to do. And then I've been reading about being the adult child of an alcoholic and how we become people pleasers, and that we have to we lose our own identity as we're trying to please other people. And that is why I've decided that I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing with this until I want to do something else. Because the fact is, all I really want to do is stand up. I don't want to do sketches. I don't want to interview people. I don't want to change hearts and minds. So basically, this podcast is, 15 to 20 minutes of free-form stand-up performed to nobody. Well, I mean to anyone who's listening, but performed in the moment to nobody. Another sip of tea. Here's my conundrum, by the way, with the tea. Caffeine aggravates my overactive bladder. So if I go off the caffeine, my bladder feels better. I've got a better bladder. Better bladder. Who? Could that be punchline number one? I've got a better bladder, but I get headaches and feel tired. So my choice is pee all the time and be wide awake, or pee at a reasonable number of times and be half asleep. These are my two modes of living now. This is what 40 is going to be, I guess. I'm almost 39 years old. And here's the thing. I mean, let's just go ahead and call it 40, right? I mean, what's the point in saying I'm 30? Who cares? 39 is just, it's just a slightly younger 40. That's all it is. So can I just go ahead and say I'm in my 40s now? Does 1 year make a difference? As my grandfather would say, well, technically, I may be 39, but I am in my 40th year. So there you have it. I tried doing the Stereo app thing. I think I may have talked about it recently. And this basically, it's an app where I can talk to strangers, and then other strangers can listen to the conversation. So I guess it's the app version of going to a Starbucks and being nosy. And I tried it, and honestly, I hated it. And I realized it's because I don't want... Here's the difference between stand-up and talk radio or a conversation. Stand-up is a conversation in which one half of the people having the conversation are just laughing. Like, there's very specific rules. You can only laugh. Whereas an actual conversation, the other person is allowed to give opinions and contribute something. And that, I just can't have any of that. I can't handle that. I mean, I think there's a setting on the Stereo app where I can just keep talking and people can weigh in if they want to. And maybe I can listen to that. That's fine, which makes it more like an Instagram Live. But I realize, you know what? No, I want to be in control of the situation. And I guess what I'm saying is that I would rather be in the control of the situation and have nobody listen than not be in control of the situation and have a million listeners. So this is me reclaiming my power. I think the other reason why I want to keep doing this is because I really am a people pleaser. I fall into that habit a lot. And if I have to find the balance with anything I'm doing where, with stand-up, for instance, I have to get laughs, otherwise it's no longer stand-up. But by the same token, I have to get laughs, but I have to believe in what I'm doing. Because I can get laughs without believing in what I'm saying. And that feels empty. It's more fulfilling to get laughs while expressing the truth of how I feel. So maybe that's the point of this podcast, is just to be honest. Maybe I can just be honest with myself for 20 minutes. That might be useful. How about that? Being honest with myself? That should be the title of this podcast, Being Honest with Myself. There you go. Jackie and Lori do that whenever they come up with the title in the middle of the podcast. They go, that should be the title of the podcast. That's a great podcast. They actually have listeners. You should check it out. I don't know who I'm telling. Maybe the person in Spain. Now, I will say, to play devil's advocate on the Stereo app, it was a good opportunity for me to get fresh questions about the story of me losing my virginity when I was 32. And one of the questions that I got when I was talking about this was, why don't you just go to a prostitute? And I'm not sure I even want to take the time. You've heard the phrase, I don't want to dignify that with a response. I got to say, I don't want to dignify that I don't want to go to a prostitute. I had nothing against prostitutes. Frankly, if it were up to me, I think it would be legal. I think making all this stuff illegal, I think in a weird way, I think makes everything worse. I think if it were legalized and regulated, maybe it would be safer. Call me crazy. Or maybe the reason why they want to keep it illegal is if too many people did it, then they may not have use for all those drugs, those prescription drugs, and it's going to bite into the prescription drug profit. Because I'll tell you something. After I had sex for the first time, I was calmer. So any drug that's designed to relieve stress would be out the window. I don't personally want to do it with a prostitute. I'd be too worried about illnesses. And I know that, I guess many of them in sanctioned areas are careful. But beyond that, I just don't think that, why don't I want to? Why don't I want to? Again, do I have to say why I don't want to? I want the person to be with me for a reason other than because I'm paying them to be with me. Oh, love. That's what it is. That's the word I'm looking for. There it is. Love, my children. That is what I want. But I just don't know where that will come. And that was not meant to be a pun, by the by. I'm recording this during my break in the middle of the day. No one else is at the office right now. It's rather chilling. The isolation during this quarantine, there's a violent vacillation between, on the one hand, feeling very, almost suffocating. I'm in the bubble of my own mind, and it's too much Josh. Maybe that's why this podcast hasn't really taken off. It's too much Josh. There's too much Josh, not enough of somebody else. If there were 4 people on the podcast and there was only a quarter of Josh, then maybe this thing would have legs. But yeah, and the other thing I've been doing, where I think I'm descending into circles of chaos, is I keep trying to outmaneuver Hollywood. Like I'll tell myself, if I can come up with an original, fresh, high concept podcast that no one else has come up with and deliver that, then I'll make it. And it inevitably leads to me doing something I really don't feel like doing, and then I go back and I listen to it, and it sounds not great to me, and then I just get frustrated. And the reality is, all I really want to, like I keep saying, I just want to do stand-up, which I think is the process of just talking about what's going on. I just want to talk about what's going on. That's really all I want to do. I just smacked my lips there. I'm watching the sound waves or whatever it is on the recording device, and there's a lip smack. It's nice to know that that's going to be on the internet, possibly forever, or until the internet goes down. Last sip of tea, I can already feel it affecting my bladder, but I'm awake. So now I'm trying to do every other day. So, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I will be caffeinated but peeing all the time. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I will be just tired but peeing normally. That's what you do when you're 40. When you're in your 40s, which is what I am. Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not entering my 40s happy. I didn't enter my 30s happy, or my 20s. So at least I'm being consistent. But this is not where I wanted to be when I was in my 40s. Not remotely. The other realization I made yesterday, I was watching someone do stand-up, and their outfit really, really bothered me. And I never used to care about that. But for some reason, I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, what's happening? And then I think the reason why it bothered me is because they're wearing what I usually wear. And I suddenly have this urge to dress better, which is the exact opposite of what I've always been shouting. I hate judging other people on what they wear, but when I'm looking at what I'm wearing, I am not at all happy with it. I'm suddenly having kind of a style identity crisis. Because on the one, I know that I don't want to wear skinny jeans. I just don't want that much constriction. I like the boys down below to have a lot of space. That's important to me. So I know I don't want to do that. I'm getting tired of the button-up shirts. I really am. I'm getting tired of that whole thing. I know I don't want to wear a full suit. That's, I'm not the district attorney. Jeans don't feel right either. I don't know. This is the theme of this podcast, is being honest. I really want to start dressing like Doctor Who. That's who I want to dress like, one of the doctors, where it's a casual, little off-kilter suit kind of a thing, maybe with a scarf that possibly is way too long. I want to start dressing like Doctor Who. A little bit, maybe, not the lace stuff, and not the little question marks on the shirt either, but definitely a long coat, and then underneath that, I don't know, maybe a shirt that's a little bit, not even really colorful. I don't know. It's specifically the Fourth Doctor. I kind of like that vibe. That vibe, but a little bit more understated. So maybe more earth tones. That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's the key. I need to get some more earth tones in here. 40. Horrible. Not happy. Not happy at all. Utterly. I really, I'm not happy with that. Not happy with that at all. What should I What should I ask for on my 40th birthday? How about a burial plot? I believe in being practical. Technically, it's my 39th birthday. Well, you already know this. Why am I repeating this? You know this already. I feel much better about this podcast than the one I recorded yesterday where I got really vulnerable. And that's what I keep yelling at people to do, to get more vulnerable. Okay, so more details about me losing my virginity. I don't want to. Here's the thing. I don't want to go into the physical stuff because I feel like I've talked about that. I was bad in bed. There's the physical stuff for you. And the thing that's most maddening is that I really went into it thinking maybe I'll be good in bed. Sometimes I will be optimistic for reasons that mystify even the greatest scientists of our age. I don't know why I was thinking maybe I'll be good at this. Maybe because I thought, well, I'm a sensitive person. Maybe that'll translate. And the reality is, sensitivity is one thing, emotional sensitivity. But another thing, having knees that are strong enough to support the actual act of me putting weight on my knees. That's exercising. That turns out that's the other side of the coin. That did you know that sex involves the body? News to me! Why didn't they mention that in sex ed? That is news to me, my friends. News to me. I think that I will say, looking back on it, emotionally, I was and still am terrified of opening up to another human being. I was not able to open up emotionally, and I eventually ended it. And I ended it because I thought that if I tried to make it a relationship, that it wouldn't last. And so I think that I'm operating under the assumption that I'm looking for a perfect relationship, and I need to accept the fact that it's not about finding a perfect relationship. It's about accepting the relationship for what it is, and finding a relationship that's perfect. I'll never be able to find a perfect relationship. I think the best any of us can do is find a relationship that is not that bad. That's what we should be putting. We're looking for not that bad. We're looking for moderate, pleasantly surprised. That might be a little bit more attainable as I turn 49. This is turning into a Wendy Liebman bit if I'm not careful. As I'm turning 57, as I'm turning 100. 40. Horrible. Not happy. Not happy with where. Not happy. I mean, there was that movie, This Is 40. I'm literally quoting the title. This is 40. This. All right. Time for the big closer of my 20 minutes set to nobody. What's my big closer? I'm tired of hearing about The Mandalorian. I'm tired of it. By the way, people are putting 1-minute clips of the climax on TikTok, and to those people, I just want to say thank you. I've seen the 1-minute clips. I see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and just say I get it. I get what's going on with The Mandalorian. I get it. It's guys in helmets staring at each other intently for a long time, and then shooting. And then there's tension, and should I adopt this child or should I not adopt this child? And there's mixed feelings about that because I don't want to open myself up emotionally, but he's so cute. And then now he belongs with that guy. I'm going to give him to that guy. I get it. All right? I get it. Is it a brilliant show? Yes. Do I want to spend money to go watch it now? No. As I have said, I planted my flag with Star Trek. I'm going to go with Star Trek for now. I'll pick The Mandalorian back up when I get a minute. maybe in 2 years when I turn 90, I'll circle back to it. Look at that callback, baby. Look at it. Delicious. All right. Last thought. My cousin. It's interesting. Not interesting. It's tragic. My cousin killed himself last year, and this morning I suddenly found myself in a memory of when I went to visit him and his kids and his wife a couple years ago, and I was just suddenly kind of hit with sadness. And then I was listening to Mark Maron's podcast, and he was talking about how he was thinking about his girlfriend who just died and how he was suddenly hit with sadness. And I don't know, similar to, I guess, when women are together and they're ovulating at the same time because they're together. Are neurotic Jews suffering through grief at the same time? Are we on the same Maybe that's what the Jewish calendar is. Now I get it. Now the Jewish calendar finally makes sense. If I look at the Jewish calendar right now, the name of today's holiday is probably Grieve! With an exclamation point. So that happened today. And all right, so that's my 20 minutes. And yeah, that's what I'm going to keep doing. This is all I really feel like doing right now. I don't know if this connects with anyone, but this is me talking for 20 minutes.